Hey everybody. It is now Wednesday morning and I just wanted to come down and do a quick morning update here on my 125 gallon tank. I recently had an ick outbreak in this tank. Not going to get into the whys and wherefores and all that now. This is just going to be an update on the conditions of everybody. I've been medicating. As the medication was in the tank, I noticed that the ick was still increasing. That doesn't mean the medication wasn't working. It just means that I had a really bad infestation and I needed to sort of do something about it while we were waiting for the medication to be able to work. The medication only works during one specific period of the life cycle of the ick, and we hadn't gotten there yet. So to speed things along, I turned the temperature up, and that increases the speed of the life cycle of the ick. But if you get the temperature high enough, if you get the temperature actually up to about 90 degrees, I think 89.5 is the actual temperature you need to achieve. But if you get it all the way up to 89.5 or 90 degrees really is what I shoot for, that should kill the parasite outright. It should just kill it off completely. No matter which stage of its life cycle it's in, that temperature should kill it, and then you should be done with it. So I've never treated it by running it up to 90 degrees, killing it, and then just running it back down to a normal temperature. I've always run it up to 90 degrees, and then I drop it back down to about 85, because 85 degrees or higher will stop ick from spreading. It'll break the life cycle, and it'll clear it up eventually. But like the medication, you have to wait for it to go through its life cycle. The 90 degree temperature just kills it right away, dead. So that's what I did yesterday. I jacked it up to 90 degrees and then I backed it off. And so here we are this morning. We're sitting right at 84.9. That's close enough for me to call 90 degrees. And by the way, I shot a video yesterday and I accidentally said I ran the temperature up to 88.9. I meant to say 89.9. Essentially, I ran it up to 90 degrees, not 89 degrees yesterday. So what are we looking at here this morning? Is making me very happy so far. My Congo Tetras that were covered in specks as of last night even are completely speck free this morning. My Tenopoma down here, I'm trying to avoid this end of the tank, all those bubbles moving around, play merry hell with the stabilizing editing. Well, we're not really going to get a good look at the spots on his side by seeing his shadowed profile like this. But suffice it to say, he looks way, way better. This was probably one of the more heavily covered, probably the most heavily covered fish in the tank. And here we are after one day, even only just a few hours at 90 degrees, and he's down to virtually spot free. He does have a few spots still on his fins, but his body is pretty much spot free. And if you see those sort of lighter markings on his side, like in his midsection, that is actually rub marks from him scratching against stuff while he was flashing. He's actually rubbed his side and made those marks where he's got those light markings down his side. So that was definitely concerning me, but he seems to be almost spot free, and I'm still waiting for my loaches to come out. I got 2 clown loaches in this tank. The one is the small one, and it's right in there, and I really would like to get a better look at it. I can see that it looks a lot less covered with spots this morning. That was the other fish that was really badly covered as of yesterday. And then under here, I've got my bigger clown loach, which again was starting to get quite a few spots on it as of yesterday, and I'd really like to see how much they've cleared off. But based on what I'm seeing with my other fish, this Congo Tetra right here, that big male, he looked like he had been dusted with powdered sugar yesterday. He had so many white spots on him. So, very good news, everybody. We've definitely beaten it back. Now it's just going to be a matter of leaving the temperature at 85 for the next week or so. I am going to continue with the medication just to be sure. I've got some other fish in some other tanks. My native tank in particular, don't have a lot of emotional investment in the fish in that tank. They're just, minnows I catch from the stream or whatever. If they die, they die. It's not that big of a deal. This tank is a little different. I would really be devastated if something bad happened to this tank and I lost a bunch of fish in it. This Tenopoma in particular is probably my favorite fish. I know him and Butterbean, my figure 8 puffer in my brackish tank, probably hold the competing title for my favorite fish. I absolutely love this Tenopoma. and would be really, really upset if I lost it, especially if I lost it due to something like ick. And then especially when you consider that the only reason ick is even in this tank is due to my own poor husbandry, my poor fish keeping habits. I cross-contaminated from another tank, and I should have known better. So if I lose a fish over my own, very, very avoidable mistake like that, that would be really, really upsetting for me. So I'm glad to see everybody is actually starting to look a little bit better, and we've got those spots off of everybody. I don't see a lot of flashing going on this morning, and everybody is actually swimming around looking fairly normal. So we're going to call this a yay, good, happy, successful update in the morning. And I guess that's about it. So make sure you're subscribed. We're not done with this tank yet, but we're getting there. And you don't want to miss any of the updates I'll have coming up here in the very near future. So don't forget this one.